Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. This is the second episode of 2019, and it falls on 1/9/19. So it's a good week this week in comics. There's a whole slew of new number one issues that are out this week. So if you've been waiting to maybe go into a local comic book store and get some new stuff, and or were afraid that you would get lost in the shuffle of new or continuity stuff like that, there are a number of new books out this week that you could probably just go ahead, jump right on, and read and get yourself all caught up on. There have been others that came out over the last couple of weeks that I might not have covered, but you might want to check it out. So this weekend, would be a great weekend for you to go to your local comic book store. If you don't know where your local comic book store is, go to your search engine and type in the Comic Shop Locator Service. When you find the proper website, click on it, and it'll take you to the web page, and it'll have a little box on the right-hand side that'll have you put your zip code in. You do that, it'll list all the comic book stores in your area within a 20-mile radius, so you find the one you want. It also has links to their website, so you can check them out before you go and stuff like that. Check out if there's any sales or whatever. So definitely worthwhile. And let's get on with it, because this is this week's Comic Call. First up from DC. When this comic first came out a long time ago, it was one of my absolute favorite comics of all time. I read every issue. I loved it. Peter David was the writer of it. Just fantastic. I loved it. Then they made it into a successful cartoon that has come back out onto the DC streaming service. And now they have a new comic out, Young Justice #1, featuring your young heroes, Impulse, Robin, Superboy. You also get Amethyst, Wonder Girl, a new Green Lantern, and a shooter of some kind. So you get all kinds of great things. So a great mix of characters. It's written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Patrick Gleason. So should be a lot of fun. The original series was so great and enjoyed it immensely. That's Ginny Hex. So that is related to Jonah Hex. So she's the shooter. So that's good. And then Robin is Tim Drake. So that's pretty cool too. It also brings the long-awaited return of Superboy to the DC universe with the new Rebirth stuff, because he hadn't showed up. Here's Wonder Girl. So beautiful artwork. Brian Michael Bendis is writer, and that says it all. Young Justice is back. And then you get the surprise return of Superboy. You also get Amethyst in there, which is a great character as well. So I'm really excited to read this book. It's a #1. It's the first one of the Wonder comics. There's going to be a whole slew. Slew's my word of the day. Of comics coming out from this series. Here's the ad for it. I've shown it before. It's Young Justice is by Brian Michael Bendis, Patrick Gleason. Naomi, which is Brian Michael Bendis, David Walker, and Jamal Campbell. Actually, I will show you that. They have a preview of that in the DC Comics. Wonder Twins by Mark Russell and Stephen Byrne, and Dolly Trujillo by Sam Humphries and Joe Quinones. So you got a good set of books to come in, and I'm excited for it. And more money down the drain. I cut a bunch of books out, and now I'm getting a bunch more back in. One book I'm never going to cut until the story's over, and even then, who knows? It's Batman #62, continuing the Nightmare storyline, written by Tom King with art by Mitch Gerards, the team that brought you Mr. Miracle. So it's got one of the worst villains that I absolutely hate, called Professor Pig. I hate him. But it's a nightmare, as it were, and has nothing to do really with the story in general, but it's a insight into Batman's psyche right now. So pretty interesting little story. Now, as I told you, Naomi is also coming out this month sometime. So this is what the artwork for Naomi is going to look like. So it looks pretty good, and it's got a good character, and you got Brian Michael Bendis writing it. So I'm excited for that. Maybe it'll be out next week. I haven't seen what's coming out next week yet, so I couldn't tell you. It's possible it could be out next week. Who knows? Next up, we have Green Lantern #3, written by Grant Morrison with art by Liam Sharp, continuing their bizarre run through outer space. So Green Lantern's taking on God, it looks like. So interesting. But it's a police procedural, and it's bizarre because it's Grant Morrison, and the artwork by Liam Sharp is insane. So there you go. Next up, we have Adventures of Super Sons #6, continuing their maxi series, written by Peter Tomasi, with art by Scott Godlewski. And this is always a great series as well. And too bad it's only a 12-issue miniseries. So, and these characters have their own things, so that's why they're not in Young Justice, because they've got their own stuff going on. So we got that. Next up, we have Martian Manhunter #2, also a 12-issue miniseries, written by Steve Orlando with art by Riley Rossimo. I haven't read the first issue yet. I have always liked Martian Manhunter, but I'm not a big fan of the artwork, and I'm not sure I'm all in on Steve Orlando's portrayal of him, but I will definitely give him the benefit of the doubt and take a look at it. So we'll see what happens with that. Justice League #15, continuing Scott Snyder's big story arc. It's going to take a couple years to finish. This one is written by Scott Snyder with James Tynion. Also, we have art by Jim Chung and Steven Segovia, with art inks by Mark Morales and Segovia and Tomu Murray. Starman, a character that hasn't been around for a while, has made a reappearance, so that's pretty cool. And so we get a little look at the Hawk World. You get some Dominators in there. It doesn't look like there's a lot of Jim Chung artwork. It looks like there's a lot more of the other guy, because Jim Chung doesn't really do a lot of stuff. So he can do a little bit at a time, but not a lot. So we'll see. Deathstroke #39, continuing his story arc about the same place in Arkham, written by Christopher Priest, with art by Carlo Paglione and Fernando Passaran, with inks by Jason Paz, Jordi Tarragona, Wade Van Grawbadger. So interesting take on Deathstroke and his psyche right now and stuff going on. And that's what you got. Deathstroke is Deathstroke, and it's an interesting storyline. Next up, we have the last issue of Batman, Kings of Fear, written by Scott Peterson with art by Kelly Jones. I bought it mostly because I like the Kelly Jones Batman artwork, but I'm glad the 6-issue miniseries is kind of over, so I don't have to worry about buying it again. So I probably should have waited for the trade on that one instead of buying the comics, but who knows. That is it for Marvel. Or, I'm sorry, DC. Next up for Marvel, another new #1. This young lady has a movie coming out in March. The 3rd trailer came out the other day. Captain Marvel #1, brand new series. So you want to go, you got excited for the movie, go pick up the comic. It's written by Kelly Thompson with art by Carmen Carnero. So you get a whole new Captain Marvel series with a new creative team, just in time for the new movie coming out in a couple months. So definitely, if you're interested in the character of Captain Marvel, I would recommend totally come pick this book up, and I think you'll like it. So again, a good new #1, new starting point. Spider-Man gets his 3rd book, but they've done that before. This is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1, written by Tom Taylor, with art by Juan Cabal. With the success of the Into the Spider-Verse, we get a new Spider-Man book. Tom Taylor is one of the hottest writers out there now, so he's got an idea to return Peter Parker to the neighborhood and make him more of a neighborhood Spider-Man, like what he said. So we'll see what happens. And then there's a secondary story that reveals something interesting about one of the Spider-Man's cast of characters. That's a surprise. It's written by Tom Taylor with art by Marcello Ferreira. So just letting you give a sneak peek. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Next up, we have Domino #10. I love this series by Gail Simone. It's been fantastic so far. Art by David Baldion, Michael Shelfer, Alberto Albuquerque, and Anthony Piper. Inks by Victor Okazaba, Ed Tadeo, and Michael Shelfer. So you get a bunch of different art styles in here, but it's a great series. Gail is doing a really good job with the story, and for once, I really kind of like Domino and her team. So continue with that. That's it for Marvel. From the DC, not for Independence, we have Strangers in Paradise #9, written and drawn by Terry Moore, whose artwork is always spectacular. Black and white, gorgeous, stark landscaping, and he's created his own connective universe connecting Strangers in Paradise to Rachel Rising. So, and the Motor Girl also is in there too. And I'm assuming the other ones that he's done are in there, but they haven't showed up yet. Another new #1 is another blast from the past. This one's from Dynamite Comics. Turok, the dinosaur hunter. You might remember him from Valiant and other stuff. He had a successful video game, I think, at the early turn of the century, maybe. But he's back now. Ron Mars writer, art by Roberto Castro. Basic premises: a Native American enters a portal where he fights dinosaurs. So that's really what it is. Turok, dinosaur hunter. So there's that. Also from Dynamite this week, we have the last issue of Red Sonja. This is Red Sonja #25. Don't worry, it's going to start over again next month with a new #1 written by Mark Russell, who did the Snagglepuss one and the Flintstones, both social ones, and she's also doing Lone Ranger for it. This wraps up Amy Chu's storyline with Eric Burnham, and this art by Carlos Gomez. So one last sexy woman in chainmail, redhead, killing things and making me feel a little funny, like climbing the rope in gym class. So we'll see what happens when the new issue comes out. I believe it's next month. So, but this is the last Amy Chu story. So good on that. Make sure there's nothing. Oh, so there's that. Also from Dynamite is more Hot Chicks. This is Hack Slash versus Chaos. It's written by Tim Seeley with art by Sealor. You get all kinds of the Chaos characters and the Purgatory and more sexy bitches and women who make me feel funny, like climbing the rope in gym class. I almost got the Deja Thoris Barbarella one because, again, more hot chicks, but I said so. Good stuff. From Image, we have Mark Millar's new Netflix series, Prodigy #2, Raphael Albuquerque art. It is done in connection with Netflix because Millar has a series with them. It's about a guy who can learn anything and uses his services to make money, uses his abilities to make money. So there's that. And last but not least, we had this one, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, but because it was running behind, they were able to release them both at the same time. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Tempest #4, 2 more issues left of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series. It's written by Alan Moore with art by Kevin O'Neill. Again, it's kind of a weird, bizarre story, but I wanted to get it because I've got all the other League of Extraordinary Gentlemen stuff. It does have a 3D section again in it, so the glasses you got from the last issue will be helpful to do that. And just another weird exploration through literature by Alan Moore. And that's their retirement right there. Once that series ends, that's the end of Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill. They will be retiring from comics, and you will not see their stuff, any new stuff from them again. So that's it. As I said, lots of new stuff out this week. Definitely worthwhile. Check out Young Justice, Captain Marvel, Turok, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and any of the other books out there. Champions is one that I think I might go back and get this weekend, #1, because that might be pretty a little bit of fun. And my store is doing a sale about 10% off or 20% off of older comics, like not the new this week, but the ones that came out a week or so ago. So check out what your stores have. And that's it. I wish I could tell you what we got coming up next week, sneak preview, but I don't know. I won't know till tomorrow. And it should be fun. So you'll be in for a surprise next week. Thanks for watching and have a good day, and go buy comics.